Welcome into Aging Untold Extra, where every week we share stories and expert advice about the journey of aging.
This week we are exploring a new tool that was just launched by the state, the Ohio Aging Compass, which gives older adults and caregivers one simple and central place to find services and support instead of searching dozens of different sites.
Plus, shingles. It can pose serious complications, especially in older adults. We're bringing in a local expert to explain the preventative measure that you can take right now.
And we'll introduce you to the Michigan man who is proving service and purpose don't expire.
All those stories and more coming up. Aging Untold Extra starts right now.
Aging Untold Extra, sponsored by Area Office on Aging of Northwest Ohio.
As we age, things change, and at times unexpected circumstances can hit quickly.
It can be really overwhelming to try to determine the best spot to move a loved one who needs a nursing home, even assisted living, or maybe you're single and you're looking for events that can widen your social circle.
Well, now there is one spot where you can find everything you need.
I spoke with a state leader about the new tool that you can access for free. Oh, we have Ursel McElroy, the director of the Ohio Department of Aging, with us. Thanks so much for being here. Now, you recently launched the Ohio Aging Compass. So what's the concept behind that?
So the Compass is what we call a gateway to aging well. It's more than a website. It brings together Ohio's aging-related services, tools and services, and events so that individuals can find information they need in one comprehensive place.
So what are some of the main features of this site? If I were to go there, what are some things I can do?
So the Compass is divided into three areas. The first is what we call our long-term care quality navigator. And with that navigator, you can find information on long-term care facilities. You can understand how well they're doing, some of the activities they provide. It will help you find the best match for a nursing home or assisted living. We also have what's known as our resource hub. And the resource hub is full of information on events, services, and tools that you might need to help you age in a very healthy way. And then finally, we have the Aging Data Explorer. The Explorer is a centralized dashboard that provides a wealth of information on how well we are performing as a state on our priorities to help aging Ohioans.
Okay, so let's talk about aging and one of the unexpected circumstances. You mentioned it here. When you talk about having to find an assisted living or a nursing home for yourself or a loved one in a short period of time here, how does that website help? And what are some of the challenges that you hear from aging seniors or people who are caring for one when they're faced with this and have to make that decision?
So the first thing we heard from people is that finding information is hard. People don't know where to begin, they don't know where to look. And so we're hoping that the Compass will make that much easier. In addition to finding information and knowing it can be hard to do so, we also heard that the resources feel very fragmented across the state. People have to visit many websites, they have to consult different types of resources. And again, this puts us in one place to make that search much easier for them. And then finally, we heard that the dating on aging is limited and difficult to use. And so we're hoping that we've laid this out in such a way that one, you can find it, two, it's in one place, and three, it's easy to use. And that's whether you're looking for a nursing home, an assisted living facility, just want really good information on how you can age well and what some of the events and resources are to do that. Or finally, how well are we doing as a state in satisfying our priorities?
Well, you mentioned the fact that you might just be looking for something to do, right? There are a lot of people out there who might be alone. They're looking for that social life, but they really don't know where to start. Now, we know there are senior centers all across the state of Ohio, but
Yes.
What does this website offer when it comes to new options out there to connect with people?
Absolutely. So first, what I think is really cool about it is it's really divided by topics. So maybe you're interested in information on brain health. Maybe you want to go out to a fitness class. Maybe you're interested in different types of meal options. It allows you to search by topic, but it also allows you to find out what's happening in your particular area, and you can see what's happening across the state. So maybe you're traveling, maybe you have loved ones that are in areas where you are not, and you could share with them resources and information. But it is full of information on a variety of things, depending on what speaks to you and where you need to have those resources best benefit you.
Perfect. And again, one obvious concern is that there's some seniors out there that are really not tech savvy. So if they need those resources, how can they access this information? I know websites can be challenging.
Absolutely. So we do have some really good resources. First, I would say we have done a really good job in partnering with some of our well-known entities that provide resources, whether you do it by phone or in person. For example, your local area agency on aging, or maybe your 211 service. And so we've done a lot of connections to help them also bolster the information that they provide to individuals, whether it be by phone, in person, or for some people online.
So there you go. Reach out to somebody closer to home if you need a little bit of help navigating that. Well, Ursel McElroy, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for shining a light on this very important topic. I think we all want to age and we want to do so well. And so this is just one more tool to help us do that here in the state of Ohio.
Well, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
So if you're interested in learning more about it, this is what it looks like. It's compass.aging.ohio.gov. And there are lots of things that you can do. You can scroll through and check out one of those 3 pillars that we just heard about: long-term care quality navigators, the Healthy Aging Resource Hub, or the Aging Data Explorer. So let's say, for example, you're looking for ways to volunteer. There are a lot of external websites that are all linked here. I pulled up one of them. If you want to become a volunteer for the Department of Aging, it takes you to this website. And then there are lots of tools to get you connected to some ways to get out in the community, whether that's volunteering or simply finding a nearby class or a senior center if you're looking for that connection. Well, have you ever had the shingles or maybe know someone who has?
That's right. We have all probably heard horror stories, but I talked with an internal medicine physician at ProMedica to get more details about who is most at risk and just how helpful getting that vaccine can be. What exactly is shingles?
All right. So shingles is it's a painful rash. It's the same exact virus that's causes chickenpox. When someone gets chickenpox, that virus stays dormant inside your nervous system, and then it stays there essentially forever. And then later in life, it reactivates and it becomes shingles. It usually appears as a painful blistering rash, and it usually only involves one side of the body. So like if you have something that crosses midline, usually not really considered shingles. There are some exceptions, of course, but generally it's only one side of the body.
So let's say, for instance, I, as a child, had a very light case of chickenpox, but
Yes,
that means that, so it was like very, very light. So that virus is still dormant inside my body.
yes, it will be dormant inside. Yeah.
Does that increase my chances of getting shingles, let's say, because I had a very light case of chickenpox, or is that irrelevant? Maybe if you
It
had.
is irrelevant. Once it's dormant inside your nervous system, everyone has essentially the same exact chances of developing shingles. However, in some cases, if you're immunocompromised or if you have other like medical conditions, it can reactivate even more likely.
Do we know specifically what reactivates it and wakes it up?
Yeah, there are definitely stress can definitely wake it up. Illness, certain medications. There are some conditions that weaken the immune system, and that can also increase the risk. But just generally, after the age of 50, our immune system generally gets less effective. And when it's less effective, that dormant virus is more likely to reactivate itself.
So we do typically associate shingles with somebody who's older, but I also know someone who is in there who just turned 40 actually, who had shingles a year or two ago. So talk a little bit about the prevalence of that. Is that very uncommon or does that happen?
It's not very uncommon, but it can definitely happen. I mean, shingles, that virus can reactivate in essentially anyone. It's just that after the age of 50 or like pre-existing conditions, stress and things like that can definitely increase the risk.
We talk about chickenpox, we think of it being a very itchy, irritable thing for kids. But shingles, I know people talk about the immense pain,
Yes.
and that also where it can appear on your body is varied. So talk a little bit about how it sometimes manifests differently in different people and what that pain level, why it is such a concern for a lot of people.
Yeah. So the pain that you're describing, I mean, it is not a very pleasant thing to have. It's definitely a burning, electric stabbing type of pain. I have a lot of patients that talk to me about how they describe it. It's basically like if their clothes just touch it, it feels like they're on fire, and
Wow.
it's very, very painful. Um, so the pain is, I mean, if the pain didn't last so long, it wouldn't have been have such an issue. But because the virus reactivates on a nerve, this nerve pain can persist for months or even longer, and it becomes something called post-herpetic neuralgia, which is a term that we basically say is like, hey, the nerve is just basically damaged and it's healing, but it will be painful for several months. So that's why prevention is so important for this type of virus.
So talking about prevention, we've heard a lot about the shingles vaccine.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about the vaccine. Is it just one shot? Is it more? What's some basic info on that?
So the current vaccine for shingles is a two-shot series, and it's between 2 and 6 months away from each other. It's usually recommended for adults age 50 or greater, even if they feel healthy. Now, the only thing is that like your healthcare provider may make specific recommendations for you if you have other pre-existing conditions that may weaken your immune system. So, like if you have a weaker immune system, we may want to vaccinate you earlier. Um, and if you did have the previous, there's an older vaccine that was only a one dose vaccine. If you took that one, I would still recommend you to get the updated new two-dose vaccine, just because the older vaccine seems to have waned in effectiveness, and then the new one seems to have a more durable vaccination, disease prevention.
So we know there's about 2 to 6 months, as you said, between shots. Is this one like the flu shot that we should be getting every year, or is this one that you do once for a certain amount of time?
So after you get the two vaccines in this series, you're done.
Oh.
So there's a lot of evidence that's followed patients that had these vaccines, and they have durable, almost 90% plus protection against shingles outbreaks. So the new one is excellent.
Are there any side effects that people can expect if they get the shingles vaccine?
The most common side effects associated with the shingles vaccine would actually be localized pain and swelling of the area. Um, a little bit less common are just like general like body aches and things like that. That's much rare. I mean, anyone that, and super duper rare, like, I mean, there's always a risk for something called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which every single vaccine technically has like a small risk of this one. And then that's like your immune system attacking your body, and then like you have persistent weakness. I mean, it's very, very rare though. So.
Let's say
Mhm.
you have a case. Can you get it again?
Yes, absolutely. You can get it again. Um, just because your body has experienced it first, once again, like it stays in your body and it's dormant, it can always reactivate.
So it's not
That's
like
how.
chicken pox, whereas you say, okay, my kid had it, they're not going to get it again. It's not like that.
Yeah, I mean the question is like the question that everyone brings up to me is that it's like, hey, if I get activated once, isn't that like I'm being immunized at that point? And the answer is no. Like the vaccine definitely prevents it way better than you activating your own immune system against it. I've seen multiple patients that have shingles, multiple outbreaks. So
So
it's
not
definitely
only would the vaccine be preventative for, let's say, your first case, if you have shingles, it still is helpful to get the vaccine, in your opinion, to prevent a recurrence.
absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, the vaccine is definitely recommended even if you had an outbreak of shingles.
So if someone develops shingles, can we talk a little bit about how things they might do to increase comfort, treat their skin, and then of course they can talk with their doctors about vaccine and so forth. But what can you do to sort of ease that nerve pain? Because it sounds pretty intense.
So, in terms of the things that you can do on your own to help it is generally going to be non-inflammatory medications like something like a Tylenol, ibuprofen, things like that would be safe and effective. Um, that's outside of prescription medications, because as we discussed before, that like this is nerve pain, and these anti-inflammatory medications such as like ibuprofen has limited effect on this type of pain. They can still yet be effective. I mean, I know that like there are some things that you can do conservative, like calamine lotion and like oatmeal baths. Like mixed evidence on these things. So there are definitely other medications that target those more appropriately.
Two other things that Dr. Chung mentioned. Children who now get that varicella vaccine when they're young, otherwise known as the chickenpox vaccine, they have about an 80% lower risk of ever developing shingles. So that's good. But he also wanted to point out, if someone out there you know or you develop shingles near your face, it should be treated as urgent because of the risk of vision complications.
Wow, some really important information
Yes.
there and things that you really need to know.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Your next chapter can be your most rewarding. Leading Later in Life is a program designed to help seniors grow, connect, and give back right here in Lucas County. You'll meet local leaders, build new friendships, explore meaningful volunteer opportunities, and enjoy exclusive tours of businesses and organizations, plus a guided look at the history that makes our community special. For more information, call or email the Area Office on Aging today. Scan the QR code to enroll now.
Well, pulmonary embolisms, they can happen when a blood clot travels to the lungs. They're uncommon but can quickly turn serious.
Reporter Tisha Powell explains the risks, the warning signs, and the simple steps to help prevent them, especially before travel.
The myth: pulmonary embolisms, also known as PEs, happen often on long flights. The truth? They're rare, but a PE can be life-threatening, so know your risk, the warning signs, and how to lower your chances. Board-certified physician Dr. Ray Rogers explains how pulmonary embolisms happen.
It's where you have a blood clot that is formed in the body, and it's dislodged and makes its way to the lungs. So when we see that happen, it's pretty sudden. And depending on the location of where it lodges in the lung depends on pretty much your outcome.
Many PEs start as deep vein thrombosis, a DVT, often in the leg, that breaks loose and travels to the lungs, where it can block blood flow. Rogers says limited movement is a major risk factor, especially when other issues are in play.
Any condition to where you're not really very mobile is a setup for that. And then certain medications making your blood thicker. Put that on top of injury to a vessel and the cascade of what's going on, and the body starts releasing these inflammatory cascades and clotting factors.
Bigger clots can cause sudden shortness of breath or chest pain and can turn deadly fast. Treatment is often blood thinners, and getting checked quickly matters. Risk can be higher after surgery or trauma, with a family or personal history, and with long periods of limited movement, including during travel. For prevention, Rogers says keep blood moving.
After every 2 hours, at least get up and move, take a break, 10 or 15 minutes if you can. Other strategies that you can use compression stockings. So those compression stockings are actually compressing so that its blood flow is moving.
Understanding your risk and taking preventative steps can make all the difference. Bottom line, keep blood moving, and if you're higher risk or can't move much, talk with your doctor before you travel. Tisha Powell, 13 Action News.
Well, more families out there taking on caregiving, and the emotional cost is really only part of the story. It's a tough discussion that a lot of families are having right now. How do you prepare financially to have an aging loved one become dependent on you?
According to a recent study by the AARP, nearly 63 million Americans are now in this position. They are taking care of an aging relative or someone with a disability or an illness. And that is a huge jump from just 10 years ago. Stoy Hall, the founder and CEO of Black Mammoth, a financial planning and wealth management firm, says the first thing you should consider is getting long-term insurance. He says that will help you cover costs such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, or in-home care that's not covered by regular health insurance or Medicare. But he also knows that's not always an option for everyone. So if a parent or grandparent is going to be moving back in with you, he says you have to go over their assets and make a financial plan.
I know it's difficult. Some of them have nothing, right? But some of them do have stuff. And if they do have some type of asset, then you need to plan what their spending is going to look like, whether that is for meds or not meds, if you're going to feed them or not feed them. But you need to set those boundaries around what they can provide and what you're going to provide.
People often don't think about the time commitment of having someone move in with them. Can you get your kids to their events while also getting aging loved ones to their doctor's appointments? There are extra costs to consider, for instance, more food and potentially more gas. So communication is key here, as is setting boundaries and creating a financial plan that works for you.
We'll be right back.
Your next chapter can be your most rewarding. Leading Later in Life is a program designed to help seniors grow, connect, and give back right here in Lucas County. You'll meet local leaders, build new friendships, explore meaningful volunteer opportunities, and enjoy exclusive tours of businesses and organizations, plus a guided look at the history that makes our community special. For more information, call or email the Area Office on Aging today. Scan the QR code to enroll now.
6 decades after answering a call to serve, one of the first Peace Corps volunteers is still giving back, this time much closer to home.
Well, today we are introducing you to a Michigan man who's proving that service and purpose don't expire. At 85, David Bauer could be taking it easy. Instead, his days are full and he spends time giving back.
Once you add it to that, now you have the right answer.
Every day, he volunteers in a 5th grade math class at Cumberland Elementary in Lansing.
I go to the Cumberland School every day, yes, to be with the 5th graders. They invigorate me.
Long before these students were born, David answered another call to serve in the Peace Corps.
I started out really as a Peace Corps volunteer in West Africa. I worked in Liberian public schools for 2 years.
Now he's back in a classroom, just closer to home.
If I do something wrong, he will fix my mistakes.
Aging Untold wellness coach Catherine Ambrose says for older adults, staying connected with purpose can be a game changer.
The active adults that are getting out there and staying socially engaged, they're having a great time for one thing, but they have each other. They're bolstering people in the community. They're doing fun things. They're planning fun things, and it has a tremendous impact.
David says the reward is simple.
Just the satisfaction knowing that each one of those did a little bit better than they did the day before.
Outside the classroom, he also volunteers with a mobile food pantry, part of a lifetime of service that earned him Michigan's Older Adult Volunteer of the Year award. And Ambrose says showing up like this helps your health, too.
To keep giving back and staying engaged like that, that's so good for longevity, so good for the brain, so good for the physical body. He's going to age so much better.
For David Bauer, staying positive means staying involved. Well, if you have a topic or a question that you want us to talk about, feel free to reach out. We have both an email and a phone line set up for you.
You can send us those ideas, those questions to aginguntold@13abc.com, or you can pick up the phone and give us a call, 419-534-3861. We really do hope to hear from you.
Yeah, and a big thank you to the few of you who have already reached out. We're always there listening, and we really do want to hear from you. So send us an email.
All right, we're back next Friday, and you can catch all the episodes on demand wherever you stream 13 Action News.
Aging Untold Extra, sponsored by Area Office on Aging of Northwest Ohio.